UFO hit screens in 1970 and immediately became one of the most stylish, ahead-of-its-time sci-fi series ever made. The cast built something legendary, but where did life take them when the cameras finally stopped? Let's get into it. Number 1. We have Ed Bishop as Commander Straker. Born on June 11, 1932, in Brooklyn, New York, Ed Bishop was 36 years old when UFO went into production. As Commander Straker, he played the ice-cold, uncompromising head of Shadow, a man who gave up his marriage, his family, and any shot at a normal life to protect Earth from alien invasion. That personal sacrifice made Straker one of the most emotionally layered protagonists British sci-fi ever produced, and Bishop anchored all 26 episodes without ever losing his grip. In his personal life, he was married 3 times, first to Jane Thwaites, then to Hilary Preen for 34 years, with whom he had 4 children, and finally to Jane Mary Griffiths in 2001. What most fans never knew was that during filming, he also shared a real-life romance with his co-star Dolores Mantz. Ed Bishop passed away on June 8, 2005, at the age of 72. Number 2, we have Dolores Mantz as Nina Barry. Born on October 17, 1936, Dolores Mantz was 32 years old when she stepped into the iconic silver wig of Nina Barry across 23 episodes, the second highest count in the entire series. As the calm, sharp moon-base operative, she became one of UFO's most visually iconic figures. On what made her presence even more significant was that she was one of the first black actresses to hold a recurring role in a British sci-fi series where her race was never made the focus of the character, a quiet but genuine milestone in television history. During production, she met businessman Robert Harding, and the two eventually married. After the birth of their son, she made the decision to step away from acting entirely and focus on her family. Dolores Mantz passed away on November 30th, 2012, at the age of 76. Number 3, we have Michael Billington as Colonel Paul Foster. Born on December 24, 1941, Michael Billington was 27 years old when he took on the role of the dashing, rule-bending Colonel Foster across 21 episodes. Foster was the kind of officer who'd rather improvise under fire than wait for orders. And Billington played that restless energy with total conviction. He screen-tested for the role of James Bond 7 times over a decade, more than any other actor in history, before Roger Moore ultimately got the part. In his personal life, he shared an 8-year relationship with Barbara Broccoli, daughter of legendary Bond producer Albert Cubby Broccoli, which makes that Bond near-miss even more extraordinary. He later married Catherine Christoph in 1988, and they had 1 son before divorcing in 1998. Michael Billington passed away on June 3, 2005, at the age of 63. Number 4, we have Aisha Bro as Shadow Operative. Born on November 12, 1948, Aisha Bra was just 20 years old when she joined the world of Shadow across 20 episodes, one of the youngest members of the entire cast. Now 77 years old in 2026. On her story away from the UFO set is genuinely fascinating. While filming, she was simultaneously building a pop music career, dating Steve Marriott of legendary rock band The Small Faces, and hosting her own musical variety show called Lift Off with Aisha. She later married her manager and record producer Chris Brow, before eventually relocating to the United States and marrying again, this time to Steve de Havilland, balancing television, music, and multiple major life chapters all at once. Aisha Bra lived a life in the 1970s that very few in this entire cast could come close to matching. Number 5, we have George Sewell as Colonel Alec Freeman. Born on August 31, 1924, George Sewell was 44 years old when UFO went into production. Across 17 episodes, he played Colonel Alec Freeman, Straker's most trusted right-hand man, and the warmer, more grounded presence that balanced out Straker's cold precision. That dynamic was one of the show's quietest but most effective strengths. Before UFO, Sewell was already a deeply respected name in British television, known for tough, no-nonsense roles in crime dramas like Special Branch and Get Carter. In his personal life, he married Helen Logan Davies in 1961, and the two remained together until his death, a partnership that lasted over 4 decades. He continued working steadily in British television long after the series ended. George Sewell passed away on April 2, 2007, at the age of 82. Number 6, we have Antonia Ellis as Joan Harrington. Born on April 30, 1944, And Antonia Ellis was 25 years old when she played Joan Harrington across 13 episodes at Shadow headquarters. Harrington wasn't the lead, but Ellis made sure she was never forgettable, her theatrical background giving every scene a sharpness that lifted everything around her. Now, 81 years old in 2026, her real-life story turned out to be one of the most unexpected in the entire cast. A serious car accident caused significant leg injuries that effectively ended her acting career, pushing her to completely reinvent herself. She married writer and former performer Jerry Colker, and the two relocated to the United States, where they eventually opened and operated a physical education gym together. From Shadow operative to gym owner in America, it's a life chapter nobody saw coming, and one that speaks entirely to her resilience. Number 7. We have Keith Alexander as Lieutenant Ford. Born on February 3, 1930, Keith Alexander was 39 years old when UFO began production. As Lieutenant Ford across 15 episodes, he was the dependable communications officer who kept Shadow's operations running without ever needing to be the loudest person in the room, the kind of steady professional every great ensemble relies on. And here's a remarkable fact. In 2026, Keith Alexander is 96 years old, making him the oldest living member of this entire cast. He never completed his full run on the series either. He departed roughly 2/3 of the way through production when he returned to his native Australia, and his character simply vanished from the show without explanation. Beyond his Jerry Anderson work, he kept his personal life entirely out of the public record, letting his performances speak completely for themselves. Number 8. We have Wanda Ventham as Colonel Virginia Lake. Born on August 5, 1935, Wanda Ventham was 33 years old when she joined UFO as the sharp, commanding Colonel Virginia Lake across 9 episodes, bringing an effortless authority to the role that made Lake one of the strongest female presences the series ever produced. Now, 90 years old in 2026, her life story stretches far beyond the world of Shadow. She was first married to James Tabernacle in 1957, with whom she had a daughter named Tracy, before the marriage ended in 1974. 2 years later, she married actor Timothy Carlton, and together they raised a son who would grow up to become one of the most recognized actors on the planet, Benedict Cumberbatch. With a career spanning over 8 decades of British television, Wanda Ventham remains one of the most remarkable figures this entire cast has to offer. Number 9. We have Gary Meyers as Captain Lou Waterman. Born on July 22, 1941, Gary Meyers was 27 years old when he joined UFO as the cool-headed Captain Lou Waterman across 10 episodes. Before acting ever entered the picture, he had served as a physical training instructor in the Australian Army, a background that gave him a natural physicality and discipline that translated perfectly onto screen. Now, 84 years old in 2026, most British viewers of a certain age would actually recognize him from something else entirely. He was the original milk tray man in the iconic Cadbury chocolate advertisements, the mysterious figure who crossed impossible terrain just to leave a box of chocolates. It's one of the most beloved advertising roles in British television history. Public records on his personal relationships are limited, but after his time in the spotlight, he eventually returned to Australia, stepping away from the industry that made him a recognizable face on 2 continents. Number 10. We have Norma Ronald as Miss Eland. Born on March 1, 1937, Norma Ronald was 31 years old when she took on the role of Miss Eland across 10 episodes. Straker's quietly efficient personal secretary and the composed gatekeeper to Shadow's entire operation. It was a role that required saying a great deal without saying very much at all, and Ronald pulled it off with effortless class. In her personal life, she married fellow actor Edward Judd in 1966, and the two remained together until her death, raising 2 daughters. She was a familiar and respected presence across British radio and television for years, but gradually stepped back from on-screen work in her later years to focus more on radio. Norma Ronald passed away on November 20th, 1993, at just 56 years old, far too soon for someone with that much quiet talent still left to give. Number 11, we have Vladic Shabel as Dr. Jackson. Born on March 12, 1923, in Poland, Vladic Shabel was 46 years old when he brought the intense, unsettling Dr. Jackson to life across 10 episodes. Jackson was the kind of character who made every room feel slightly more dangerous just by being in it, and Shabel had already proven he could do that long before UFO came along. He is perhaps best remembered internationally for playing the Cold, our calculating chess master Kronstein in the James Bond film From Russia with Love, a performance so chilling it became one of the franchise's most memorable villain appearances. He arrived in Britain as a Polish refugee, built an entire career from nothing in a foreign country, and earned genuine respect across the industry for his intensity and craft. Vladic Shabel passed away on October 16, 1992, at the age of 69. One of the most quietly remarkable life stories this entire cast holds. Number 12. We have Georgina Moon as skydiver operative. Born on May 11, 1950, Georgina Moon was just 19 years old when she appeared across 8 episodes as one of UFO's distinctive skydiver operatives, part of the show's unforgettable visual identity that turned its female cast into genuine cult icons through futuristic fashion alone. Now 75 years old in 2026, she stepped away from the spotlight relatively early in her career, but left behind a presence that fans of the series still fondly remember. In her personal life, she was married to actor Douglas Fielding, who was well known to British audiences for his long-running role in the police drama Cars. The two shared a life deeply embedded in the world of British television, a connection that kept her close to the industry even as her own on-screen appearances became less frequent over the years. Number 13, we have Grant Taylor as General Henderson. Born on December 6, 1917, Grant Taylor was 51 years old when he played the gruff, politically calculating General Henderson across 9 episodes, the kind of authority figure who made Straker's already difficult job even harder at every turn. His personal life carried its own share of heartbreak. He was married 3 times, first to Margaret Hazlitt, then to Jean Bullen, who tragically died in an accident in 1956. He later married Beth Ravenna in 1958 and remained with her until his death. Incredibly, Taylor passed away on January 26, 1971, while UFO was still airing, at just 53 years old after a battle with cancer. He never got to see the full reception the series received. Beth herself later died in an accident in 1989, making their story one of the most quietly tragic connected to this entire production. Before I move on, if you enjoy content like this, you're going to love Hollywood Echoes. It's a free community where classic TV and movie fans come together every week. Link is in the description. Alright, back to the video. Number 15, we have Gabrielle Drake as Lieutenant Ellis. Born on March 30th, 1944, Gabrielle Drake was 25 years old when she played the cool, silver-wigged Lieutenant Ellis across 10 episodes. And if you were a teenage boy watching British television in 1970, chances are her face never quite left you. Ellis became one of the show's most iconic images almost immediately, and Drake brought a genuine elegance to the role that went far beyond the costume. Now 82 years old in 2026, her life away from UFO tells a story every bit as rich as anything that aired on screen. She married South African-born artist Louis DeWitt in 1977, and the two spent decades together lovingly restoring a historic house in Shropshire, a beautiful, quietly devoted life far removed from the silver wigs and alien invasions. Louis passed away in 2014, ending a 37-year partnership. But there is another chapter to Gabrielle Drake's story that moves people even more deeply than her acting. She is the sister of Nick Drake, the legendary, heartbreaking folk musician whose albums Pink Moon and Brighter Later are considered among the greatest ever recorded, and who died tragically young in 1974. Gabrielle has spent decades carefully and lovingly preserving his legacy, ensuring his music continues to reach new generations. She also went on to appear in the long-running soap opera Crossroads and the sitcom The Brothers, a career that extended well beyond the world of Shadow and proved her talent needed no silver wig to shine. Number 16, we have Peter Gordino as Captain Carlin. Born on June 20th, 1939, Peter Gordino was 29 years old when he became the face of the Skydiver submarine missions across 6 episodes as Captain Carlin. What most viewers never knew was that he was primarily a celebrated dancer and choreographer who took the UFO role specifically to push his career in a new direction, only to leave after 6 episodes, deliberately avoiding being typecast in science fiction. In his personal life, he was married to Angela Gordino, and the two had 3 children together. Peter Gordino passed away on October 18, 2008, at the age of 69. But here is the detail that might genuinely surprise you. One of his sons, also named Peter Gordino, grew up to become a highly accomplished musician and has spent years touring the world as a key member of Depeche Mode, a father who chased new stages, and a son who never left them.